Hello and welcome to Supposedly Fun. I'm Joel.
I'm Greg.
And this is Teddy.
Our special little boy.
Yeah, so we're doing a special episode today. I'm going to go through some of the books that I got at the Pacific Northwest Booksellers Association.
And Powell's as well, but I think there's really only one book in your pile that we got from Powell's. Because most of the Powell stuff will show up in my book haul, which will be coming later this month.
Yeah. So I've got some fun mixtures of things that I kind of got excited about when I saw them. And so we're going to kind of go through them real quick. So
it's a Joel joint.
It's a Joel, yeah.
Yeah. It's all about you, which makes him nervous.
It's so nervous. All right, the first one we're going to talk about is Realm of Ice and Sky by Buddy Levy. We got to meet him, and I was a little fanboyed out. And
he loved that. I think he was very flattered. Yeah.
He was very flattered. And so it's part of my Arctic adventures that I normally like to do. I did Labyrinth of Ice, which was from him. But this is going to be a new one. It's going to be about a hydrogen balloon, like the Hindenburg or the Zeppelin, going to the North Pole. And when you kind of mix the elements of the North Pole and hydrogen, it is not a good mix. Yeah. So it's supposed to be a really interesting book.
Yeah, I think the way he described it is like, of course, if you look at it from the perspective of science, bringing a balloon like this up into that atmosphere was a terrible idea. But they either didn't know or didn't really think it would be and of course.
It's a terrible idea.
It's a terrible. Don't you just love those?
I do. And
not in this case.
Not in this case. So this is going to be a very exciting read. I've already started it. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun one.
And when does it come out?
It comes out in January of 2025.
So we will have links to all of these books in the where?
Down in the description below.
Yeah, in the description box down below. It's just fun to do.
It is.
So some of these have already been released. Some of these will be coming. So some of those might be pre-order links. They might be order now links, but all down below. So
a book that I did get at Powell's is Inland Island. You all know I've been reading a chapter of this every month.
Yes.
Has this like beautiful little monthly chapter heading to September. Yeah. I am on October. Yeah. I read October.
You did?
I did, yeah. So I'll wait for November and November.
Yeah.
And 12 chapters, 12 months. It's a really beautiful book by Josephine Johnson. And we got this book because it is such a beautiful book that when we meet somebody and they're a big reader and they like this kind of thing, it's a very little poetry, a little nature. It's gorgeous reading book.
Yeah, so we have started gifting this book a lot. Yeah. I originally got it from the library because Josephine Johnson won a Pulitzer Prize for fiction. I'll link my video about that down below. And I was just interested in reading more by her. So I got the Inland Island from the library, and I loved it so much I ordered a copy for me and a copy that we could gift to a friend.
Yeah, well, we did give one to Libby.
Libby, that's exactly it. Who I thought would like it. And now part of the reason we bought this copy is just because I have the old version of it. This is a new re-release of it, and it's gorgeous, but also we kind of thought it would be a good idea to have one on hand in case somebody comes over and we're telling them about it. Because now we can say, it's a really great book. And if they seem interested, we could say, cool, you are taking this home with you. Because I did that with Sonora Babs, whose names are unknown.
Yes.
Actually, we only had the one copy in the house. But I knew that they had copies at my local used bookstore. So we were telling Libby, the same person, about it. And just said, okay, take it home. And so the idea of that is gift.
Yeah. So my next one is going to be released in February of 2025, Unshackled by Amanda Dubois. She was a speaker at the conference we went to, and it sounded really interesting. It's a novel, but it's a little bit of her past life and her current life. Yeah. She was an attorney.
She was an attorney.
And now she's a physician. So she's using both of her professions into this mystery thriller of a woman who has been kidnapped.
I think she has a baby. Yeah. And I think she is, if not fully incarcerated, she is somewhat incarcerated. Right. And that's what she worked on as an attorney. Legal rights for women who had babies in prison. And in this case, so the woman has the baby, and it disappears. And an attorney gets involved in trying to help find the baby and all of that stuff. So it does sound really fascinating.
It sounded really fascinating when we got it.
So February of 2025.
Yes.
Around your birthday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then this was released on October 15th, 2024.
So it is out in stores now.
I'm fascinated by Billy the Kid. This is really, really silly, but...
It's not silly.
It is.
Silly in a fun way.
In a fun way. Yeah. One of my favorite singers is Billy Joel, and he has a song, Billy the Kid, and everything in the song is wrong about the facts of Billy the Kid. Even Billy says it. He goes, it's just all wrong, but it all makes sense. Yeah. So I wanted to know more about Billy the Kid. So I thought it would be a fun book to get.
So it is a novelization. So there might be some not so factual elements in it as well. But still, fun.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
And then if I really don't like it, my father probably will.
Yeah. So there you go.
The next two are very exciting.
Very exciting.
We also fanboyed out on Aiden Thomas.
Yeah.
Aiden Thomas did Cemetery Boys, which we both liked. Loved it, really. So I started the Sunbearer Trials next, and I liked it. It didn't get me as much as Cemetery Boys, but it was really good. But this is the sequel to it, so I'm going to actually be doing it.
And it's a duology, so this is it. But I think the one thing that frustrated you about the Sunbearer Trials, if I may.
You may.
Is it ends on a cliffhanger.
Absolute cliffhanger.
That was frustrating for you. I'm not going to show the cliffhanger. I'm just going to open to let you all know that this is signed. Look at that. Aiden Thomas and a heart.
He really, really is a fun person to listen to as they speak.
And we stalked him after he spoke so we could talk to him about Cemetery Boys and what it has meant for us and what it helped us understand, especially about our foster son. And if he didn't care, he at least gave the impression of being genuinely touched by the conversation.
So just a little background. If you don't know who Aiden Thomas is a transgender male author who writes a lot of YA books. And he kind of helped us realize a lot of things from his books and his characters about transgender kids, which helped us with our son, our foster son.
Yeah, and the feelings that he would have about not feeling engaged or welcomed or accepted into his community, which is very heavily part of Cemetery Boys.
Yeah.
Which, not to get into it, you have a transgender protagonist, and in that society, the lines between what men are expected to do and what women are expected to do are very different. And as a transgender person, he is trying to gain acceptance doing what the men do. And it's a really beautiful story.
It's a great story.
Really great.
My next one is Once They See You by Josh Allen. And it's a really a fun little book. But it's a kind of a very... I don't say YA, wasn't it more...
YA, intermediate, horror, depending. He said he was inspired by those scary stories to tell in the dark books. And if you're about my age, you absolutely grew up with those books and you know what they are. And once you hear it's inspired by those, you're immediately like, I know exactly what this is. So, yeah.
But this is meant to be scary, but not that there's a creature under your bed scary. And I can't really turn out the lights, but the white part will glow in the dark.
Which is a fun detail.
He's really a fun guy to sit and talk to a little bit.
He was a very nice guy. So
this one didn't interest me too much, but it is River Songs by Steve Dada.
We were almost thinking of giving this to your father.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Steve Duda. But it's about fly fishing and in Montana. And so he was very excited to hear we're from Montana. And
he knows Missoula well.
Yeah. So we got this for a gift again for somebody who we know is a fly fisherman. So.
And we have one more before we get into the cookbooks, which I know you're excited about. And actually, you're really excited about this one, too.
Well, I am. This sounded a little fun, too. This is a good transition into the next section.
If I may do, like, backstory on how we found out about this book.
Yeah.
So one thing that they did at the Pacific Northwest Booksellers Associations is they would have, like, rep picks. So sales reps for publishers would present the books that they were excited about and that they thought a lot of their stores would be interested in. To break things up, one evening, they did what they called reps behind the desk, which was, I think, 4 reps from different publishing companies would get a desk, and it would be set up sort of like a late night talk show. And they would either talk to another sales rep to get a little banter, or they could invite an author. And the sales rep for this company invited the author. The
author is Christina McMorris.
Yeah, and just did a kind of fun interview with her about what inspired the book. It was actually a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The book is called The Girls of Good Fortune. And it's based on true facts, but it's more in a novel form. And it sounded very interesting. And I was like, okay, this sounds fun. But at the very end, the author says, so if you pick up our book, in the back, it has the recipe of a cake.
Yeah.
And the cake is very part of the foundation of the book. So I thought that was a really kind of fun thing to do. And
you could see Joel like immediately sit up a little more in his chair, like, oh.
So I do want to read it. I want to get into it and see what the book is like. But I think this would be a fun book club book to make the cake and to go.
Make the cake and talk, because it sounds like there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And it involves, so it's set in Portland in 1888. And I didn't know this. And she said, actually, a lot of people don't know about this. And her whole inspiration to write the book was that she heard about, amid the subterranean labyrinth of the notorious Shanghai tunnels, a woman awakens in an underground cell, drugged and disguised. She found out about the Shanghai tunnels and was like, I need to write a book about this so people learn about them and talk about them, because it's a wild thing. And that was actually one of the things that was fun, because we also, I don't know if we would want to talk about this now, like the whale book.
No.
I didn't think to pull it for like a book haul, but she just basically found out a lot of facts about whale falls and was like, I just want people to know about them. So it's kind of a similar principle with The Girls of Good Fortune, which will be on sale May 20th, 2025.
Whale fall, if you aren't familiar with that, because it took me a while to figure what that meant. So when a whale dies, it sinks to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
But it's how much that body, the carcass, feeds the rest of the fish and the plankton down below, because there's nothing else down there to eat.
Yeah.
And so it's a big circle of life kind of thing. So it's in a beautiful
I'm gonna grab it.
book.
I'm going to grab it. Oh, I'm going to let Teddy down. Yeah. And I'm going to go grab it. So you look at Joel while I do that.
We'll cut this out.
This is it, Life After Whale. The author spoke at one of those rep picks, and she basically just talked about, there's a lot of like interesting and gross facts, but it helped her because it helped her understand the life cycle. And like, yes, it's sad that this whale dies, but you get to see how when one life ends, it creates this whole system of things that will ultimately, by the way, the illustrations are beautiful. This is the sad one. This is where the whale dies. But I read the book and it's fascinating.
It was really interesting.
It just talks about how all of the things that come after, and as the whale sinks lower into the ocean, the new forms of life that will sort of feed on portions of it. And then when it gets to the bottom, there are new species that come into play. And again, some of it can be a little gruesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a happy thing. But ultimately, it's about the life cycle and how all of these things that happen end up ultimately feeding whales back on the surface of the ocean. So it gives you a very circle of life understanding.
So there's certain animals down there that will eat the flesh, eat the muscle. But then there's another fish down there that will bore into the bones and eat the bones.
Yeah.
And so it's like 100% of this whale is consumed and brought back to more life, and that life will then go up and feed the rest of the whales coming into.
And I think, I'm not a scientist and I don't want to read the book to find out, but I think he's talking about these guys.
Yes.
That kind of cover almost like a blanket the remains. And yeah.
Super interesting.
Super interesting. And then while we're on that topic, this was being published for the holidays, that Christmas. You know us.
Yeah, we like Christmas.
We like Christmas. So it's about bunnies who are excited about Christmas, and really they're kind of focused on the presents that they might be getting. And they're trying to like look around to find out if Santa has come. And ultimately by the end, they realize that the real gift of Christmas is that the family has gathered together to celebrate.
And then the next one is the 12 Days of Christmas.
Which is not a song we're a fan of.
No, we're not a fan of, by Todd Lockwood.
Yeah.
But the illustrations are gorgeous.
Yeah.
It does go through the 12 Days of Christmas and what they mean.
Yeah.
But it's just an absolutely beautiful little story. So it's the 12 Days of Christmas song in a book form that you can like read to small kids.
Yeah.
And but the pictures are absolutely gorgeous.
And we are fans of Christmas polar bears. So those are the other three that I just kind of threw in for you. Do you want to dive into the cookbooks?
Yes.
Now, this is where Joel had... You were so excited to walk around and talk to people about cookbooks.
I was. So I got to talk to a lot of distributors, publishers about cookbooks. And some I just kind of picked up, was glancing through and say, oh, and I'd go to Greg, oh, look at this. This looks good. And they go, do you want that?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah, I don't have enough cookbooks. So, so the first one we got was Salt Hank.
Yeah.
Very weird picture, but that sandwich looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's an okay cookbook. I've kind of gone through it. Just flipping through, it has baked ribs, cheese boards, tacos in a bag, just a lot of different little fun recipes. So we thought we would actually get in there and just try some new things and look at different recipes of...
There's a pasta primavera.
The pictures are gorgeous.
Pictures are gorgeous. Oh, and here's like a step-by-step guide for making pesto with photos so you know what you're doing.
Do you know what? We learned how to make pesto in Italy.
We made a beautiful pesto
in Italy.
We really did. Here's a Cajun garlic cream sauce. So fun. And I think this one might be out already. I could be wrong about that. But
I think it is.
If you click the link down below, it will either be a pre-order or a order now. So, bam.
The next one was really kind of fun. When I looked at it there, I wasn't excited, but it's Eberskievels. It is a Swedish,
I think Swedish or Dutch
pancake. Danish. It's a Danish pancake, but it's made in a very cool pan.
So the picture on the back shows a bit more of what they look like.
They're kind of a nonstick pan that is kind of a half dome, and you put pancake mix in there, and then as it kind of starts cooking from the bottom up, you can put stuff in the middle. Like we did it one morning with blueberries, jams, caramel,
we did peanut butter. We did a chocolate one, like little chocolate chips in the middle.
Great for dessert, great for breakfast, but it's a little pancake.
And you use toothpicks to then kind of flip it so the other side cooks, and it just cooks into a ball.
Yeah.
They are delicious.
So there's kind of an Eberskiever already cooked. So they just cook into these beautiful little balls.
And they have so many different ideas for flavors and flavor combos and things you can stuff them with.
Yeah. So chocolate and bacon Eberskievers. So how delicious is that?
Yeah. And you could make a holiday wreath.
Yeah.
With an Eberskiever.
So after we got it home and I looked at it, it's a gorgeous cover and book, and it's textured. I love it.
I think in the moment you opened to a recipe that was not that exciting, and then when we got the book home and we actually started flipping through, we were like, oh no, there's a lot of good stuff in here. Like red currant and hibiscus Eberskiever doesn't excite me too much, but there are even savory ones. Like you could do a cheddar and chive
Cheddar and chive would be amazing.
That would be. I don't know about roasted beet Eberskievers.
No.
But yeah. Just a lot of options.
You could even make them for like a side bread for dinner, make them for breakfast.
Yeah.
Little hors d'oeuvres.
And this is going to be so fun to share and talk to our neighbor about, because our neighbor is also a food person and she loves Eberskievers. So
the next one was...
this one's mostly for me.
That takes the cookie.
I like baking cookies.
Yeah. It is obviously, it comes out, November 12th, 24.
Just in time for the holidays.
Yeah. So it is a advanced reader's copy. So it is a really cheap paper. It's black and white.
The photographs are kind of grainy.
Yeah.
But in the finished version, obviously, they will not be the case.
Not a sexy picture of a cake pop. But The recipes seem really fun in here. We're flipping through it and it's like, ooh, let's make that. Ooh, let's make that.
Pistachio biscotti with tangy pomegranate glaze.
Yeah.
I would eat that. Amaretto glazed oatmeal brown sugar cookies. Yeah, I would eat that. Dark chocolate peanut butter truffles. Those are basically Buckeyes.
Yeah, Buckeyes.
Yeah, so, yes.
So this is a really fun cookie buck.
Yeah.
So I'm going to save that for last. This one was fun. And
you were fascinated by this one.
I was fascinated by this, but the guy who was the distributor, publisher for this, he and I sat and we talked.
For like an hour.
Yeah. We just nonstop. We had so much in common. We talked about different things. He's not from Montana, but his family is from Graybill, Montana. And Graybill has this very cool community that is building. They're taking old barns, like pre-Civil War barns, from the East Coast, dismantling them, bringing over to another place and rebuilding them.
Yeah.
So they're refurbishing them and recycling them. And it's a beautiful story, but this barn is being built. They have a cheese cave. They have a lot of
They grind their own flour and oats, don't they?
It's a grist mill, so they do their own flours. So he and I just really bonded.
Yeah.
And
so he started throwing stuff at you.
Yeah, so he started throwing. But this one came out, Foods to Die For.
Yeah.
And I think this is so cool, by Amy Bruni.
Yeah. Do you know who gave a blurb on the back cover? Robert Irvine.
Oh, Robert.
He says, Food to Die For is the ultimate companion piece for anyone who has tuned into Amy's many incredible adventures. All others will just have to settle for an unbelievably great cookbook. Who's that? Oh, that guy from the Discovery Channel. So Josh Gates also blurbs it.
Yeah.
I know him from TikTok videos where he makes fun of people who give bad answers on Wheel of Fortune.
He's hilarious. But what this is it's recipes from like haunted hotels. There's a lot of different sections in here, but they do eerie hotels, horrifying homes,
otherworldly watering holes,
hair-raising historical landmarks,
hellish institutions,
and meals to die for.
So, like, under hellish institutions, there are Alcatraz cinnamon sugar cookies.
Well, we need to make those for our
I love
Christmas
cinnamon
box.
sugar cookies.
I know.
Ghoulish ghost
landmarks. They have the Star of India, Queen Mary. Anyway, it's just, and then there's stories of the haunted places in here. So if you're a full-time Halloween person or creepy person,
spooky season guy,
spooky
or
season,
or
this book is for you.
Yeah, and the photography, if I may, is also like really great. So here's the old pink house in Savannah, Georgia. So it has a picture of the house, stories about it, and what makes it so creepy. And then there's the crispy breaded oysters over green goddess sauce that is the accompanying that I would not.
Yeah. So
I'm not an oyster person. So
I would say if you really like to entertain or do parties or like Halloween, this is a perfect one that has stories behind the recipes and just some fun recipes too.
Yeah. And one more. Eastern State Penitentiary. So it'll talk about that. And then it'll have their recipe for Nutriloaf, because difficult inmates at Eastern State Penitentiary, as is the case with many prisons to this day, were punished with behavior-modified meals that met nutritional standards but were as unpleasant as possible. This recipe is adapted from Eastern State's punishment meal, which inmates would eat alone in their cells. So they kind of take something that's designed to be unpleasant to eat and hopefully make it pleasant.
I'm making that for your birthday.
Oh, yay. Put a birthday candle in it. It's all good to go.
The next one is a fascinating story. It's Babette's Bread.
I mean, you saw the cover of that
cover.
And just started vibrating with excitement.
I know. And I'm not a good bread maker, and
but you love to.
I love to try. I love to try. So there's some really fun breads in here that I really want to do. So there's one in here called Government Loaf, but it's made in a square pan, and I really want to get one of these pans so I can make it. Because if you make a nice brioche into it, then you can take that brioche and cut it into like big square blocks and make this gorgeous French toast.
So I love French toast.
Yeah. So I mean, there's just a lot of fun things in here. And I love focaccia. He absolutely loves focaccia.
Yeah.
And I'm not good at it yet, so I'm going to start playing with it.
He makes better focaccia than he's willing to admit.
So a nice little focaccia. So I'm very excited about this.
Everyday easy eating rye.
Yeah.
The 33% loaf.
33% of each thing.
Oh.
Yeah, so a third of this, third of that.
Okay.
White flour, wheat flour, and rye flour.
And gorgeous end papers.
Oh, yeah.
I just have to show that off.
Yeah.
And who doesn't love bread?
I love bread.
Done with this one?
I am.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So the next one I was very excited about, but it's not really a cookbook, but there are a few recipes in here, but it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
It is Italia and, can you say that?
Italia con gusto e amore.
So
Probably didn't get that exactly right, but
I don't think he did, but it's this absolutely gorgeous Italian book.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of different Italian stories. So every region in Italy has a little... Did you guys know we went to Italy?
Did you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And every area in here has something from that area of the region. So
and stories.
And stories. So they'll tell you how to make it, but tell you more of the stories of what they are.
Yeah, so like this one with this amazing little like cheese cave has Alpeggio. Every year in late May, the farmer takes his cattle to the Alpeggio, or pasture, high in the mountains according to tradition. And it'll just go on from there to tell you the story of how it's made.
Right.
Which is really cool. Also, I don't know what this is, but I would eat it.
Well, it almost looks like it has an egg on it. But
that's kind of why. I think it's not an egg. I think it's cheese.
It's cheese,
still.
but it looks good. But it's just really nice to know the regions of Italy and what they make there.
It's kind of a Stanley Tucci searching for Italy in a book, but different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but...
And it's a gorgeous book.
Gorgeous book, gorgeous spine, all the way around. Just an absolutely gorgeous book that will fit on my Italian bookshelf right here.
Which is right there. Yeah.
All right, the last one.
Now, this actually did come from Powell's. I made a mistake.
Nope, that's fine. This one came from Powell's, and I am a big fan of, she's on Instagram called No Big Hair.
Yeah.
And she makes these colored pastas. And she'll sometimes give a recipe, but not really.
Really intricate patterns, too.
Danny loves pasta. And he does these colored pastas that are just absolutely gorgeous pastas.
Yeah.
They tell you how to make them naturally without like food dyes. But
they look like candy.
Yeah, they make really cool patterns. So here's a really fun one.
What?
I mean... And of course, he's a gay boy, so he makes nice rainbow stripes.
We support a gay boy who makes colorful pasta.
Yeah.
Oh, a Santa hat. Sorry, I got excited.
So you can make a Santa hat or a witch's hat.
Yeah.
So it just has some really fun things. And I really want to get into doing some of the pastas because I love making it and love eating it. And just being able to get some nice...
Show that one.
That's it.
That's gorgeous.
Look at that. It's a striped pasta made into...
Is that a tortellini?
It's a tortellini, but sometimes they call them Pope hats too.
Oh.
But making these stripes, it's a big process of making it, but they are so beautiful when they do. And I do this one a lot, putting herbs into your pasta and rolling it out real thin, so then the herb is in there.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful.
So we got this magnet in Bologna. It doesn't have the same pattern on it, but it's adorable.
Yeah.
So, and so it has ways you can color and decorate, but it also has recipes for what you can do with them.
Different fillings, different sauces, and...
Oh, a little cheetah, leopard.
Leopard. So you could do like leopard print.
Yeah.
So it just has some really fun ideas. And I like taking ideas and doing my own thing and trying to figure it out and having fun with it. Like he does a couple of really fun... I think you can see that. Yeah. Some patterns in there. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do. So I'm very excited about this for the winter.
It kind of reminds me of the pie book that we got that had all the really cool designs. It's actually right there. Do you want me to get it?
I got it.
Okay. Just got to shuffle one or two things on the shelf in order to get it down. Because it's kind of the same principle, but with pie. And this came out 2 years ago.
2 years ago, Pyometry. And this was a really fun book, too, by Lauren Coe out of Seattle.
You have experimented with some design.
And I have. So, yeah, she just does these really beautiful patterns on top of pies. Yeah. But a lot of times she's using like kiwi, lychee, and cantaloupe, which I like, but...
I think, didn't you get an idea for like a cranberry curd from this one?
Yes.
Yes. And that is magic.
So, but yeah, she does these very cool designs. So you can still do a pastry crust and make this really fun hexagon and laced pattern. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I want to try a little bit of that. But
with pasta.
These two books, they are super colorful and a lot of fun. And it's just taking an everyday pie, everyday pasta, and just making it into something pretty. So,
yes. So you did well.
Yeah, I had a really good sweep.
You did well.
It was good.
Both in Powell's, the cookbook section in Powell's was huge. Rows and rows and rows, and yeah, there was a lot of fun stuff in there. It was hard to kind of pick one cookbook.
It was. I did, and I wanted this book really bad, is the Dolly Parton's cookbook with Dolly Parton and her sister. And there's the pasta one beat her out, but it's just like, I love the Dolly Parton cookbook. And I want to support her. Dolly. Yeah, I want to support her. I want to support her cookbook. But a lot of it was just down-home flavors, which I kind of know most of them because I'm down there too. Yeah. So we had a really good time.
We did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a good...
You're a lot of fun.
You're fun. So thank you for hanging with us this long, and we really appreciate it.
And I'll be back with my book haul later this month, so stay tuned for that.
We're almost 2/3 of the way through, so we'll be back for a monthly wrap-up.
You're going to be back soon.
And then we're breaking into the holidays, so I'm kind of excited.
It's going to start happening.
So thank you for joining us, and we will be back next time. And happy baking.
And happy reading.